they can.
Ski, we really appreciate your time and appreciate what you're doing overseas. Best of luck to you in your endeavor. And again, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Again, Kirill Sukutsky with Radio Free Europe, and doing a lot of great work now with the conflict happening, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. People are not getting information, and that is one source of information, of actual information and not disinformation that people over there are getting. Amy Marks-Kors and Chris Ranji here on the show on KMOX.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. In 2016, one of my employees accidentally clicked through an online vendor's contract, which recommitted my company to an additional 12 months of their service. I called the vendor to explain the accident. Nope, they pointed to their ironclad contract, told me to pay or else. I will pay them, but after 12 months, I'm gone. I've been in business over 30 years, and I've never made my customers sign a long-term contract. Never. And now, my fifth successful company, Patriot Software, offers payroll to business owners with 1 to 100 employees, and there's no long-term contract. And if you need help with your payroll, we will help you for free. Go to PatriotSoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
The St. Louis Women of Achievement Award is the oldest ongoing program in the area, whose sole mission is to honor and recognize the volunteer service and volunteer leadership of women. Nominations are currently open for the 2023 Women of Achievement. Nominate a woman who volunteers in the community and makes a difference in the lives of others. Or if you're one, Women of Achievement wants to hear from you. Nominations, including self-nominations, may be submitted now through January 10th. Head to WOASTL.org.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 4th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 314-530-7777.
Are you concerned about outliving your money? Well, how would you like to have guaranteed growth and a lifetime of income you may never outlive? Join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio. You can also call me now for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233.
You don't need special gadgets to be a hero. With unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere, the Capital One Quicksilver Card makes you the hero of every purchase. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
For all your communication needs, check out the Center for Hearing and Speech. Call today, 314-968-4710 or chsstl.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Amy Marks-Kors.
This is my show, my microphone.
On the show.
Chris Ranji, Amy Marks-Kors alongside you on a Wednesday. We just spoke with Kirill Sukutsky of Radio Free Europe about specifically Russia, Ukraine, and the way Russia is censoring and controlling all media and news outlets, and how Radio Free Europe is really in one of the few ways that Russian citizens can get true news. And what's so interesting is how dangerous it is for these reporters and journalists for Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty, also Radio Liberty, and how their lives in countries like Belarus and Uzbekistan are really at risk because these totalitarian governments, with their censorship and the way they want to control the information that people receive, they will go after these journalists and place their lives at risk. So really interesting history. I have to be honest, I know I had heard of Radio Free Europe, but I don't think I understood or could explain the scope and magnitude of it.
To your point, it's 18 journalists over the years that worked for Radio Free Europe have been killed by a terrorist or a government or whatever. And that's, I mean, in its history, going back to the 50s, it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
It does. And they also help provide information to the people of Iran. I mean, think of the government there and how they suppress information. And it's interesting because this was started during the Cold War to get news behind the Iron Curtain. And it is something that's funded by the U.S. government. And I know if you're wondering, okay, well, how
it's not operated by the CIA anymore.
No, it's
but
not.
But there are American entities that are funding it, yes.
Yeah, U.S. Congress through the United States Agency for Global Media. But there is a firewall that is in the enabling legislation of the United States Agency for Global Media, and that prohibits any interference by U.S. government officials, including the chief executive officer of the USAGM. So it maintains journalistic integrity, and it very much is a vital component of national security because an informed citizenry is key to stable countries. You can't allow citizens to be cut off from the rest of the world, whether we're talking about Russia or China or Iran. An informed citizenry behooves the U.S.
It's okay to criticize media.
Sure.
Because I think they should be. They should also be held accountable. But the cries of the media is the enemy, the press is the enemy, that have been going on for the last several years in this country, incredibly dangerous, and frankly, it's silly because I don't think you want to live in a country where there is no independent media.
Right.
You just don't. You don't. You may, if you're in one of those countries, you may not know what you don't know. And in Russia, a lot of the people there don't know what they don't know.
So here's what's so key.
You don't want to live like that.
No. One of the reasons why we saw an increase in protests in China, and I'm talking protesting the COVID lockdowns, the severe draconian lockdowns in Shanghai and Beijing and Hong Kong, is though the people in China at times saw the crowds at the World Cup. And wait a minute, they realized the rest of the world is living in a completely different reality than they are, which is why the Chinese Communist Party would cut away. The censors would make sure that there were no stadium scenes, no crowd scenes, so that the people in China would not realize that the rest of the world is out and living their lives. I mean, think about that. That's not just reporting news.
Right.
That's a World Cup event where they're trying to cut out stadium scenes so that the citizenry can't see all the people going to these games.
And so now they're in trouble. Now China is in trouble with its COVID situation because they don't have immunity. Their vaccines are terrible. They don't work as well as the ones over here, and they refuse to use ours. They refuse to use Western vaccines, which is likely going to lead to many millions of deaths over there, it's very unfortunate.
If you want more information on Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, go to rferl.org. So RFE, Radio Free Europe, RL, Radio Liberty.org. Lots of information, plus all of their news stories, any questions you might have about its history, how it's funded, and the work that it does, as well as how it tries to keep its journalists and reporters safe. Really interesting. I'm fascinated by the Cold War, all things Cold War.
Yeah, and we're kind of back there, I guess, huh?
Yeah, there are some elements to it.
Yeah. At least it's not full-scale war. Though what concerns me about what's happening now is it seems like we've done this before in our history where we kind of keep an arm's length of a conflict that's happening across the world. We don't want to get involved. then eventually we're forced to get involved, and you know what happens from there. I hope we don't get to that point. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji, we're here on the show.
Congress has authorized trillions in new spending, along with doubling the size of the IRS agency in just the last few months. Do you think that is by accident? No, it is with a purpose, to go after small businesses, employees, and individuals who have not filed or paid their taxes. If this is you, don't panic, just call. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee, which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The voice of the Billikens, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room. Over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, it's cloudy and 39 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin needed to have his heart restarted twice, once on the field and again after he arrived at the hospital after the on-field hit he took, according to his uncle.
Damar Hamlin's uncle, Dorian Glenn, told CNN he was grateful for the medical care his nephew was receiving. Glenn, who was speaking outside the hospital in Cincinnati where the Bills had played the Bengals, said there were some encouraging signs, such as doctors lowering the level of oxygen Hamlin needs from 100% to 50%. Hamlin is still sedated, according to Glenn, so he can have a better chance of recovery later. The chilling scene of Hamlin's collapse, which played out on Monday Night Football, has put the NFL on hold with the game suspended. I'm Julie Walker.
Only one chamber in the 118th Congress is able to do its work. That'll be the case. CBS News correspondent Scott McFarland tells us until House Republicans agree on who should be Speaker.
They have to do this before the House can function. This morning in America, there is no sitting U.S. House of Representatives.
The House is due back in session today, but whether or not Republicans can work out their differences and reach agreement on a Speaker is uncertain.
I'm Stephen Portnoy. This is not a good look. President Biden tells reporters the world is watching what's happening here in Washington and that it's embarrassing that Republicans have been unable to elect a speaker. He added, quote, "I hope they get their act together." The president spoke before he headed to Kentucky, where he was to appear with top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell to celebrate federal spending on a new bridge connecting Cincinnati and Covington. Mr. Biden says it's an example of how the federal government can work.
Police are calling a shooting in Spanish Lake self-defense.
Police say 43-year-old Frank Campbell Jr. broke into a townhome armed with a handgun on Thunderhead Drive Monday at 4:23 p.m. Campbell was shot by the homeowner in self-defense, police say, after a fight. Police did not say if Campbell was shot with his own gun or if the homeowner had one. Campbell lived one street over from where he was shot, but police made no indication that the two knew each other. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
The city of St. Louis has lifted a boil advisory after tests came back clean. Just some of the areas thought to be originally affected were Tower Grove South, High Point, Franz Park, Clifton Heights, and Hamilton Heights. The KMOX business desk, job openings remained elevated closing out the end of 2022. That's according to the latest numbers from the Labor Department. CBS's Sarah Uhl-Rice.
There were nearly 10.5 million job openings in the final day of November. That's roughly 1.75 jobs for every unemployed person in the United States. It's down very slightly from the month before, but nearly a percentage point lower from the peak in March of last year. The number of hires and quits changed very little month to month.
The Dow from Stifel is up 246 points to 33,382. We've got a stalled vehicle, 55 south at 255 on the right shoulder, stall 44 east before Jameson on the right shoulder, and 270 south at 364 west on the right shoulder.
KMOX AccuWeather this afternoon, breezy, much colder than yesterday with plenty of clouds, maybe some late day sun, high 44, partly cloudy tonight, though 33. For tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun, breezy and cold, high near 40. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds, high 45. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's a cloudy sky, 38 in Florissant, 39 in St. Peters, and 39 degrees downtown at the Arch. And happening now on the floor of the U.S. House.
Chair has examined the journal of the last day's proceedings and announces the House the approval thereof.
The House is reconvening, expecting a resumption of votes for the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, attempting to reach that position. We'll continue to follow it and have the latest at 11:30 or as soon as it breaks. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than four? 314-441-4444.
It is the show with Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Mark Scores, and the House is resuming its vote momentarily. On the House floor, Kevin McCarthy is trying yet again to be elected Speaker or nominated to be Speaker of the House. And for a bit more information on the chaos and circus that is the House of Representatives is John Hancock joining us now on the Quiver River guest line. Hey, John, how are you?
Chaos and circus are my specialty.
That's why we brought you in.
You know what? I like to think John Hancock and his ilk over the last 30 years have created the environment for this circus to occur. This is all your fault, John.
Thanks, buddy.
These are your people.
Yeah, they are my people.
I guess they're my people too, but
yeah, you know, I mean, what an embarrassment. It is. You almost get the sense that our institutions are crumbling. I mean, on the one hand, this is really kind of comical. On the other hand, our institutions are crumbling. And, you know, the rift in the Democratic Party does not appear to be as deep as it is in the Republican Party, but they have one. And, you know, this inability to do anything it's horrible.
John, can I just ask as a follow-up, when you say our institutions are crumbling, can you expound on that? Because I do feel that things aren't working because I feel like there are idiots in the institutions, but are the idiots, are the institutions breaking under the weight of the idiots' actions?
Well, so, I mean, I don't want to get too deep and philosophical on you guys, but there has been a profound shift over the past half century, more pronounced over the past 2 decades, of power shifting from the legislative branch to the executive branch. And you witness the fact that you have all of these executive orders, Joe Biden forgiving student loans by executive order, Donald Trump appropriating funds for the wall by executive order. All of that shift has occurred. Congress has gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. And the reforms that have taken place in the Congress and the legislative branch have weakened the power of leadership. One of the reasons Kevin McCarthy can't put this thing together, aside from the fact that nobody likes him, but one of the reasons he can't put this together is that he doesn't really wield that much power inside the building like the speaker used to. We've gotten rid of earmarks, which people found odious, but they helped actually make the system work. So crumbling might be a bit too strong, but our institutions are suffering, certainly.
So what I wonder is he has already conceded a lot to that small group, that small fringe group, too much, which again, much of the Republican Party, I heard from Don Bacon earlier today, or heard him talking about it out of Nebraska, who said, maybe he should pull back some of those concessions, just say, okay, fine, because I conceded and you still said no to me, then I'm going to take all those things back. Is that what should happen here? Because if they're not going to agree, even with the concessions, what are they going to agree to?
Well, they're not. And it's not just one reason for those 20 people. I mean, some of them, Chip Roy maybe has principled reasons for opposing McCarthy. Some of them are opposing McCarthy because he spent money against them in their election last time, or their allies in elections. His PAC spent a lot of money to defeat some of the extremists in the GOP, and he won a few and he lost more. And some of them are just, goofballs. And so I don't know how you're going to corral all of that at all. And given that, I don't see how McCarthy ends up as a speaker here. Now, other people I've listened to other experts that, think he will. I just don't see how it's going to happen.
So if he does not end up the speaker, who do you see becoming the speaker?
My guess would be Steve Scalise. But I don't know that Scalise is sufficient to unify a lot of those folks either, and so if he, it could be, you might remember years ago, Bob Livingston was selected by the conference as the Speaker of the House, and he lasted about 48 hours when word of his extramarital affair surfaced and he resigned. That was a different time, obviously. And there was quite a infighting going on to see who would be Speaker, and the person selected was the Chief Deputy Whip, who at the time was a guy named Dennis Hastert from Illinois. It could very well be here that somebody that nobody is talking about ends up being the consensus choice for Speaker. And I'm thinking of McHenry, the Congressman McHenry, who is now the Chief Deputy Whip. Somebody like that nobody's talking about could end up with the job, but what do I know?
Yeah, and what we're hearing, or at least there was a thought yesterday that it could be somebody from outside the House.
Yeah,
the likelihood of that is very low, right? It's very low.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, with this gang, I used to be able to predict what was going to happen in politics, fairly accurately. But either I've lost something off my fastball or this whole thing has changed a lot.
Yeah. Well, what do you see this portending for the Republican Party moving forward? Once they pick a speaker, do people forget about this chaos, or does this create a rift that has ramifications into 2024?
I mean, this chaos that we're living through now is not going to have much of a long-term effect.
Mm-hmm.
What could have a long-term effect is the House's inability to function. And when you look at, between now and 2024, there'll be a need to raise the debt ceiling again. There'll be a need for some sort of budget, or at a minimum, an omnibus appropriations bill. I can't see any of that happening in this Congress. And so if the body itself fails over and over again, that's not going to be helpful for the GOP in 2024, certainly. And, but as far as this particular circus, I don't think it's going to have much of an effect. But what it has exposed about this narrow majority, I think, could.
Yeah, you mentioned the expanding powers and abuse of the executive branch, with both parties, administration after administration, have been guilty of doing. If you see a Congress that, again, is incapable of doing its job, it's going to create a situation which is the last thing we need, which is more emphasis on the executive branch and even more importance on the presidential election in 2024, because you have a Congress that just can't function.
Right. And, all of this, and this is not a unique to America phenomenon, but it's a Western democracy phenomenon. You've got this increasing move to authoritarianism, and you're seeing it play out in different places. And, if you've got a situation where you can't legislate, where you can't even appropriate money, you can't fund the government, you can't service the debt. If we get to that place in the Congress, with a natural built, that's my sort of deepest seated concern for where this is all headed. Now, I don't want to be an alarmist, but I've got some real concerns about where this is all headed.
And also, I guess, just following up on that, on the power, right? We talk about the division of powers in 3 separate but equal branches, and how that is becoming increasingly unbalanced. Well, on one side, you're going to see all of this power shifted to the executive branch, but how much more then does it politicize the judicial branch and how people view the Supreme Court as de facto legislators?
Well, the good news there is that this court, and a lot of people think they're conservative, and they're certainly, judicially conservative. But the good news about that is that they definitely don't see the court as a vehicle for legislating. And as long as they're calling balls and strikes, liberals think they're Angel Hernandez calling balls and strikes, but as long as they're calling balls and strikes, that's what we would expect from them. And so I'm fairly comfortable with the judicial branch right now in terms of its, staying in its lane.
So we heard from it. I can't remember if it was Paul Gosar yesterday. I'm not sure, it's escaping me right now, whose plea to the people who are not voting for McCarthy was, we can't get started on our Biden investigations if you don't get McCarthy elected. The longer you wait, basically the longer it's going to take for us to do that. Is that all this House is going to accomplish, is investigating Biden's, or are they going to do stuff to help people?
Yeah, I don't see them passing substantial legislation with a 4-seat majority that's splintered. Could there be some policy down the middle that gets enough Republicans and Democrats together? I could see a pathway on securing the border, for example, where they actually could accomplish some meaningful policy. But anything that gets accomplished in this Congress is going to have to be bipartisan. And none of these folks right now are, giving any in either party are giving any indication that that's where this is headed.
John Hancock, I think we're finished with you, because Amy looked at me and I looked at her and she's like, okay, I think we can go now.
I hope
that's the way she looked at me.
Hope the rest of your day is brighter than this has been.
It did not start well, John. It was just a disaster.
Yeah, it's Amy.
Chris Ranji is the absolute worst. Hey, how's your partner doing? Michael Kelly, is he in St. Louis?
He's in the state of Missouri, which is something you don't see. In fact, we're getting together later this afternoon.
So he's having a staycation then.
He is. He is. And he'll be with me on Friday right there at KMOX.
And we're going to talk to you in the 10 o'clock hour. You're going to hang out with us. We're looking forward to it, as we always do.
Doesn't get any better than that, guys.
I agree with you. By the way, congratulations on your clean snooker balls, because he got that. John got the gift from his son to clean the ball cleaner.
My wife got
your wife. And
Yeah.
you were so excited that you sent me the photo.
I did.
Of your clean balls, your clean snooker balls.
Were they not shiny? Were they not shiny?
John, I've never seen better looking balls ever. Honestly.
I'm telling you, it's the truth.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend.
All right. See you guys.
John Hancock on the Quiver River guest line, and those snooker balls looked wonderful. And they don't have numbers on them. I didn't realize that.
Well, are they all the same color?
They're like a bunch of red ones. Then there's a pink and an orange,
Really?
maybe, and a blue. Yeah. They're mostly red.
Interesting.
And then they have like 5 different ones that are like 5 different colors.
How many balls did he have?
I don't know. I can count them.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on
Because,
this.
I mean, there are a lot of pool balls in a pool game.
Yeah, I think aren't there
pool.
like, I don't
Is
know
it the
how many.
same with snooker?
I don't know. They're different though.
Interesting.
The table's different too.
Yeah. it
I need to
is.
start watching more snooker.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy Mark Scores, do you have a thing that you need to tell people?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Okay,
if you
do
could
it.
stop talking, I'd
Go.
really appreciate
Now.
it. The Salvation Army. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tree of Lights campaign. We've got a little bit longer for the Tree of Lights campaign. The Salvation Army right here in St. Louis. It is their 75th anniversary of the Tree of Lights campaign in St. Louis. Here's the website for my virtual kettle. salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores. salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores. Thank you so much to everyone who has donated so far to the virtual Red Kettle. I really, really appreciate it. We couldn't have done it without you. So I want to thank you to Melissa, who donated, to Barbara and Ray, who donated, Lawrence, Trevor, and Patricia, to Tom, Dave, and Donna. Thank you guys so much. And again, you can donate to salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores. All of the money that's raised during the Salvation Army's Tree of Lights campaign stays right here in St. Louis. So you truly are helping your neighbor down the street who's struggling to pay their mortgage, who are struggling to put food on the table, maybe a veteran who is dealing with PTSD, dealing with addiction, dealing with homelessness. The Salvation Army stands in the gap, and we can come together as a community to help our neighbors in need. salarmy.us/Amy Mark Scores.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 AM further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey. And when I make a recommendation, you can be sure that I've done my homework and I only promote the best. So when it comes to real estate, I only recommend one realtor, and that is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. I've been recommending Gloria for years now. I've met her clients, I've seen her systems, and she's the only agent I would trust to sell my home. Gloria Liu's proven track record for selling hundreds of homes this year alone should give you the confidence that she will help you sell for the most money, or the fact that Gloria already has the buyers. Buyers looking to buy right now. That's why Gloria will actually guarantee in writing to sell your home at your price and your time frame, or she'll buy it herself. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or you can find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
John Michael Montgomery. Live. The multiple Grammy, CMA, and ACM award winner. John Michael Montgomery with McBride and the Ride. Friday, October 20th at the Family Arena. Reserved seats on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. John Michael Montgomery, live in concert.
Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Bad Geeks. May 9th, the Family Arena, Progressive Pioneers. Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Bad Geeks live. Research seat tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office at the Family Arena or through Ticketmaster. Don't miss Yes, Epics and Classics featuring John Anderson with the Bad Geeks.
Ask yourself, what am I doing to guarantee I will have adequate inflation-hedged income that I may never outlive? Why not make sure your future income is growing and may last as long as you do? Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing,
together millions of things for our planet. Now that we have started a new year, think about ways you can help the environment. First, make the switch to green soaps and personal products, and green cleaning products for the sink and shower. Use towels made from materials like organic cotton. And finally, make the switch to LED lights, which can last for many years and use very little power. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
News, talk, sports. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's the show on KMOX. That's Amy Marks Scores.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Chris Ranji. Thank you for confirming. You can text the show 314-436-7900. Hopefully you're listening on the Odyssey app. If you can't listen on the regular extra terrestrial radio, that would be in space.
Extraterrestrial radio.
Welcome to space. We are
RIP to the listener that we lost.
Oh, but the good news is this. We do have a texter who says you have also gained a listener today. I ate so much over the holidays, I'm twice as big. So
that's wonderful.
that's from a 314.
Thank you.
That's good news. So
It
we
is.
lose somebody, we gain somebody else.
That's like when God closes a door, he opens a window.
Is that true?
Well, I'm not sure how he operates in households, but
But then you got to crawl in a window. Like I had a door.
what if it's one of those big windows, like a sliding? I guess that would be a door, but you could
It
have
would
one
still
of
be
those
a
big
door.
windows.
Yeah, but still you got to, and maybe it's probably on a second floor too, just to make it difficult on you. Because why wouldn't you do that? You can follow us on Twitter at the show KMOX. We are on Facebook Live,
Yeah, we are.
and you can catch us on YouTube.
That way you can see which hat Ranji is wearing. He's always wearing a hat. They're very nice hats. He has a fine hat collection.
Mhm.
Today's hat is the STL City hat.
It sure is.
Mhm.
Thank you for noticing. Another texter had asked, because we were talking about Damar Hamlin from the Bills, who suffered the cardiac arrest on the field. Huge story over the last couple of days. He, by the way, is still in critical condition
Mhm.
in a Cincinnati hospital. And they have flipped him over onto his stomach because it's less stressful for his lungs.
Mhm.
So they say he's making progress. We don't know just how much progress that is, but still a very critical situation for him. But a texter asked, do NFL players qualify for workers' comp? And the answer to that is yes, but they are, it's just like anybody else, though. You are bound by your state's laws. So you have workers' comp in the state that you work in. So if you have a $15 million contract or a $5 million contract or whatever, the state isn't paying you your $5 million salary.
Mhm.
You're bound by whatever is happening there. So some states have it better than others. It's still not very good when you have a very specific talent that 99.999% of the people in the world don't have. And suddenly an injury happens or something severe like this happens, that does not make up for the skill that you had prior to it.
Yeah.
So my argument is I don't think you can change football. You can't change the game to make it something else. I do think you want to continue to monitor for concussions, no question. And if a guy is exhibiting signs of a head injury, get him the hell out of the game
Mhm.
and probably sit him for a while. But there should be an acknowledgement. Football is difficult and it's dangerous, and you can get hurt and you're going to suffer problems later in life. But the league, with its $13 billion it makes per year, the agreement, the contract should be this: you're going to play for us. You're going to make us a ton of money. When you are finished playing, we will make sure you never, ever, ever have to worry about health care.
And it's so interesting, as Mike Claiborne said yesterday, of all the professional leagues, the NFL's health care plan
Pretty lousy.
is the worst.
Yeah.
And you think of the sport, this is the sport that you could arguably say needs it the most. It is the most violent sport. I know hockey is very violent. You have lots of injuries in hockey. In baseball, basketball, sure. But the nature of NFL football is so intense, so violent to such an extreme level. And like I said, I love the game of football. If you haven't been on the sidelines, like feet or yards away from an NFL hit, I don't know that you can appreciate just how hard these guys are being hit. I would go to the Rams camp and I was, standing on the sidelines, literally where the coaches are and the players' families. And you see one of those hits and you think, I wouldn't
and that's not
survive
even
that.
Like in a camp?
That was
that's
a camp.
That's not even a game hit.
Right.
You're not trying to kill your teammates. But when you get on a field and you're playing against an opponent, you are.
Oh, my gosh.
So I don't think it's unreasonable to expect them to be taken care of when they are finished playing, but the NFL does a very poor job of that. Amy Marks Core's Chris Ranji here on the show on KMOX.
When winter weather hits St. Louis, KMOX is committed to keeping you and your family safe.
Let's begin our coverage with Roger Brand.
The road conditions around the state, they are covered.
With up-to-the-minute forecasts.
Let's take you to the Storm Center and AccuWeather's Dean DeVore.
We're watching another area of snow and ice.
And we talk to those who know the conditions.
Dave Roan is joining us right now. He is with St. Louis County Highway Department.
Winter weather. We've got it covered. Fast and live. From the dependable voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Show me hope, St. Louis, because the stress and anxiety following disasters can be challenging. Show me hope, St. Louis, because you are never alone. Show me hope, St. Louis, because resources from the Missouri Department of Mental Health are available to help you manage stress and get the support you need. If you are impacted by the recent floods in St. Louis, the Show Me Hope Crisis Counseling Program is here with support for yourself or a loved one. Find local providers at moshowmehope.org.
The sounds of the holiday season. This is Debbie Monterey for the Audiology Center. Don't let your holiday with family and friends be ruined because you can't quite follow the conversation. Get your hearing checked today with Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. And if you need some help, Dr. Bosler has the top line of hearing aids to make sure that you are hearing things crystal clear this holiday season. With 3 locations in St. Peter's, Creve Coeur, and Florissant, the Audiology Center, STL.com. Call 636-441-7470.
You know when you start up a motorcycle and you hear it go vroom, vroom, vroom when it takes off? I was losing that. I was losing my energy like everybody does as they grow older. And I don't want to be tired. I don't want to look tired and I don't want to be tired. I started using Balance of Nature about 1.5 years ago. Noticed the results immediately. And I went, oh my gosh, this works. This is what I've been missing all my life. I'm loving life actually more than I ever have. I missed my va-va voom. I got it back.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. See why Kathy Lee Gifford and thousands of others have had life-changing success with Balance of Nature. Take advantage of our New Year's offer while you still can. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com. That's 1-800-246-8751 and get $25 off plus a free fiber and spice when you use discount code KLG.
At 11:30, it's cloudy and 40 degrees downtown at the Arch. The U.S. House is back in session.
McCarthy.
Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has been nominated to become Speaker of the House. The vote is underway. This is the 4th vote. Representative Mike Gallagher, Republican of Wisconsin, says
there's headlines about the chaos, this and that. Yesterday, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle were tweeting their bags of popcorn that they had out. They love it. The schadenfreude is palpable. But I think my friends on the Democratic side misunderstand what's happening here. Sure, it looks messy, but democracy is messy. Democracy is messy by design.
And taking a look at the vote tally so far, 11 for Representative McCarthy, 5 for Hakeem Jeffries, and 0 for the other Republican who's been nominated, Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida. We'll continue to monitor this and have the latest coming up at noon or sooner if something breaks. The marketing representative for Damar Hamlin says the Buffalo Bills safety's recovery is moving in a positive direction 2 days after he collapsed and went into cardiac arrest during a game against Cincinnati. Jordan Rooney says the family remains optimistic, but that he was unable to go into further detail on Hamlin's status. On Tuesday, the Bills said Hamlin was under sedation and listed in critical condition at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. We've got some debris on 6440 going east at Vanaventer. The two right lanes are closed. A stall 55 south at 255 on the right shoulder and 44 east before Jameson on the right shoulder. This afternoon, breezy, cooler than yesterday with plenty of clouds and maybe a little break of sun late the day with a high of 44 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low 33. Tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun, breezy and cold with a high not far from 40. Sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor. Go to PennMutual.com/STL. Cloudy and 40 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold Toyota. Your car is worth more than ever before, so why trust the Damages for your servicing? Come see the factory-trained experts at Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
I had zero experience running a business, which is why Patriot Software has been so valuable to us. Not only has it saved us time and money, it's saved us headache in researching information about compliance and payroll. I would definitely recommend Patriot Software every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
With PatriotSoftware.com. Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in an accident and would like to know the value of your case, go to forthepeople.com to see cases just like yours. You see, all lawyers are not the same. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Home Sweet Home mission is to give underserved families a sense of pride and to improve the quality of their lives by providing basic household furnishings. To learn more, go to homesweethomestl.org.
It's a sports day Saturday on KMOX. At 2, men's Billikens basketball action as they take on St. Bonaventure. Right after that game, it's Chiefs football as they play the Vegas Raiders. Then Saturday night, the playoffs are on the line when Jacksonville hosts Tennessee. Catch all the games this Saturday on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Amy Mark scores, Chris Ranji, the show, KMOX.
Why are you talking like a robot?
Was I?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I
The
was
show, Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores. Very robotic.
Oh, that was my Pat Summerall. Do you even know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, why did I just say that to you like you don't know?
Ever
You wouldn't know. You don't watch football, do you?
I do.
You do not.
No, I do. And I used to watch a ton because I was obsessed with it when I was younger.
When the Rams were here.
Well, yeah. I would say when the Rams left, a lot of my football attention dropped off. Although, I mean, I was a football fan before the Rams were here. Yeah, but I'm, getting back into it.
Well, I'm glad you may not want to be a Bears fan because it's just nothing but disappointment. So don't.
I've
don't try
never
that.
met a Bears fan who's happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, why would you?
Like ever, though. Do you know what I mean? Even when you're not talking about football.
Yeah, you have no idea. You have no idea. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But they might have a quarterback
But
now.
then every Bears fan says the same thing.
Yeah.
And that is, well, at least we're not the Detroit Lions. But I've heard that it's better to be a Lions fan because Lions fans have no hope and they never go into a season thinking, hey, this might be the year. They know it won't be. Whereas Bears fans go, hey, this might be the year.
Yeah, well, here's
And that's
the
why
thing.
it's better to be a Lions fan.
Well, here's the thing about the Lions. They don't they're on the up and up here, it sounds like. Kind of looks like they're moving forward. So
Are they?
yeah. So Kevin Wheeler may get to actually root for a winning team at some point. A team that is very good,
Mm-hmm.
very, very good this year is the Buffalo Bills. And the game that happened on Monday was, it had some playoff implications in terms of seeding, but it ended up taking a very back seat
Mm-hmm.
to what was going on.
Yeah.
Because of DeMar Hamlin, who took a hit, and with that hit, went into cardiac arrest. And to get an update on what's going on with him, we go to the Quiver River guest line from KRLD Radio in Cincinnati. Alan Skaya is, KRLD in Dallas. He is in Cincinnati, and he is covering the story now. Alan Skaya visiting with us on KMOX. Good morning to you, Alan. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. I'm good. Yeah, Damar Hamlin still in critical condition. I'm outside the hospital now. His uncle gave us an update saying that he's trending upward, but he's still having to deal with a lot of issues. He didn't have any health issues before. His uncle said that he wouldn't have made it this far if he had trouble lifting weights or if he had trouble on endurance. So that's one of the reasons that doctors are taking so long to figure out exactly why this happened to him, is that he had never had any respiratory or any issues with his lungs before.
And right now, do we know, is he breathing on his own?
No, he's still heavily sedated. They said he's still on a ventilator. But yeah, he is. That's what his uncle described as trending upward. But he is still in critical condition, so he does still have a long way to go here. And they're not exactly sure what this recovery is going to look like.
Yeah, Alan, we're not sure about that, and I know we're probably not going to know for quite some time. And so the idea that he plays football again is so far down the line. You got to be thinking about his immediate health. You mentioned earlier that doctors aren't exactly sure, or we aren't exactly sure, if there was something pre-existing or if it was all about the hit. Are you getting any indication that they do know pretty precisely what this was that caused it, and that it was all about that and not something else?
No, they haven't given us any idea that yeah, they're zeroing in on one exact cause. One of the things they've been doing out here at the hospital, they've been keeping media. We are in the memorial or the tributes that they've had. All of it's across the street from the hospital. They're keeping us all, like the public are across the street. You'll see some players come in sometimes. Your family, they are all kind of getting ushered inside. But they're keeping everybody across the street. Everybody is kind of being kept at a distance right now, and they're really limiting what information they're giving out to us.
And I think this might be redundant. You probably don't have this answer, but in the discussions of what possibly could have caused his heart to stop beating, we've talked about pre-existing conditions. We've talked about the hit itself. I guess, is there a possibility that there was an unknown pre-existing condition that made or prompted the hit to trigger something?
And that's what they're looking at now is, what could he have had that might have led to this? Or was it just such a direct hit that he got right on his heart, right on his sternum, that it could have caused his heart to stop beating? And so it's one of the things that they're trying to find that solution. They're trying to pin it down so that they're not using guesswork in treatment for it.
And we still don't know as well what the potential long-lasting effects, if any, that he'll be dealing with.
Yeah, there's no, once he gets out of here, he's going to have to go to a rehab hospital. They're not talking about that just yet because he is still in critical condition. They still have to get him out of, even though trending upwards was what his uncle described. But it's not as though he's going to be out of here in a couple of days and can start, training again. It's going to be a long-term problem. And whether he ever gets cleared to participate in some sort of a high contact or high stress environment, that's something that we just don't know yet. It's just the fans, though, and they keep gathering out here. And it's one of the things that they're talking about, too. I've talked to a few Bengals fans just today who have said, this isn't about Bengals Bills anymore. It's, there's a person inside who we're worried about. It's like, we want to kill the Bills on the field, but once we get off the field, we're all still people. We're all still in this together. And so everybody from both teams, you guys were talking about the Detroit Lions too. I just talked to a guy who came down here from Detroit who said he just felt called to come down here. Even though he doesn't know Hamlin, he doesn't know anyone here, but he and his wife just felt like they wanted to come down here and show support.
How much of that have you seen? People who have no rooting interest at all being there?
There's the guy from Detroit. They had a vigil last night. There were even a couple, and they even said, everybody yell out where you're from. And most people from Cincinnati. There were a few from Buffalo, but there was also a couple of people yelled out Mississippi. And so people have come from all over the place. There's one guy, he had lived in San Diego back when the Chargers were still there, but he now lives in Cincinnati, but he showed up wearing his Chargers jersey. And yeah, it's just something people just want to feel like they're doing something to help out, to show support.
So is there a constant crowd there just outside the hospital?
Yeah, it's just kind of an ebb and flow. Yesterday it was, there was raining on and off, and so the crowds when it would dry out, people would start showing up, and then when it would start raining, everyone would leave again. But there has just been a steady flow of people leaving things like cards. People have been leaving candles out here, little keepsakes that they just want it to get delivered to the family at some point.
We are visiting right now with Alan Skaya with Dallas, and he is in Cincinnati right now. He's with KRLD Radio from Dallas, and he's covering this story. We have been paying attention to the NFL's response, and we know yesterday it was reported by multiple people that they wanted the game to resume, and they were telling players to warm up, and the players and coaches said, nah, we're not going to do that because of what happened. How much more about that do you know?
Yeah, and Roger Goodell, the commissioner, he's really kind of walked back that say that's just what we did in the spur of the moment. We didn't realize how big it was at the time. And I can tell you too, just watching the game with my family, so I work in Dallas, but I was here in Cincinnati. I was home visiting family over Christmas, and we just thought when he popped up initially and then he went back down, it's like, oh, he must have pulled a hamstring. Maybe he tore his ACL. Like, we didn't understand how big this was until everybody gathered around him. All the players were gathered around him, and you could sort of see them starting CPR. So we didn't understand the scope of this either. And so that might have been kind of Goodell walking that back of, no, we understand now how important this was to take our time. And he did say, I want to say the last update he gave was that they're not going to resume the game this week. I'm looking at the league has not made any changes to the Week 18 schedule. That's the one coming up here. But they do not have a schedule to make up this game either. Even if it does have playoff implications, and they do have to make it up at some point, it's not going to be in the next few days.
Okay. I don't think they should make it up at all, but I know it's the NFL, and they're going to get what they get. So we appreciate your update, Alan Skaya from KRLD Radio. Thank you for being with us today.
Glad to do it.
Alan Skaya on the Quiver River guest line. Look, it's the end of the season. You can use whatever. I think it's in their rules that they can use winning percentage to decide seeding.
Like
and that's all that matters.
Yeah, count it as a tie.
Right.
And then follow the rules from that point on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that they're even considering it, because you're putting more people in jeopardy. You're putting players in jeopardy to finish this game and then play another one, and it's probably going to be shortened. Just let it go.
Yeah.
But we know what the league is like, and they are going to get every last dollar they can.
Meanwhile, the GoFundMe that was set up by Damar Hamlin as a toy drive a couple of years ago, we know that the goal initially was $2,500. And since his injury, people from all over the globe have donated to his GoFundMe page. It's over $6.3 million. But when you look, people around the league are donating. So New Orleans Saints quarterback Andy Dalton donated $3,000. There were the Patriots owner Robert Kraft donated $18,003. Tom Brady donated $10,000. Russell Wilson and Sierra donated $10,000. Matthew Stafford donated $12,000. You've seen the messages on Twitter from all of the not just players in the NFL, but players across other professional leagues, really stepping up, sending messages of support, also donating to the GoFundMe page. So Damar Hamlin certainly receiving support and thoughts and prayers and well wishes of people all across the country. Honestly, the NFL just sticks out as looking so bad, as it always does in these situations.
What's amazing about the league is it is so... I think you used the word Teflon earlier, didn't you?
The shield, the shield is made of Teflon.
It doesn't really matter, because people are still going to watch it. So nothing makes people turn on the NFL. And I know, again, I mentioned this yesterday, but some of the people were turned off by protests, and they said, well, no one's watching anymore. But they were. So people were still watching that sport by a lot. Compared to everything else that was on TV, even during the protests.
By your definition of political, right? This could be getting political. But here's my question. Why the NFL is made of Teflon. So we know that the pushback, the, I think now deceased founder of Chick-fil-A, had mentioned his support for traditional marriage.
Dan Cathy, right?
Yeah,
or is that the?
I'm not sure. All I know is that the founder, the owner of Chick-fil-A, who has now passed away, he had said, which, I mean, he has been he has talked outwardly about his Christian faith, believes in traditional marriage, did not discriminate in service in any way or employee status, whatever. But that a lot of people on principle said, well, I'm not going to go to Chick-fil-A. And that, they're still doing fine, but there are a lot of people who boycotted Chick-fil-A. The NFL, does it surprise you that, do you know what I mean? That we can be the same country that is saying, okay, I'm not going to go to Chick-fil-A because of what the founder's personal beliefs are, versus the NFL, which is actively at times supporting or protecting people who are quite literally injuring, hurting, assaulting, raping, whatever it is, other people. And then also acting in its own interest, hurting its own players, constantly acting driven, motivated by the bottom line at the expense of people and their lives and their safety.
I don't know that you can conflate the two. I think they're very different. I think what you're talking about is very. One is there's a feeling of discriminating against people who exist and can't do anything about how they exist.
To me, the NFL is so much worse. It's actively hurting people.
You're talking about players doing something wrong.
Well,
right? And
not
then
just players doing something wrong, but the NFL also hurting players. Just the NFL as a whole always comes out
because people are rooting
bad.
for the players. People are rooting for the people. Like I said earlier, I hate the people who own teams.
But what about like a Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, there's no. I hate the fact that he's back in the league. I hate it.
But it's not stopping people from watching the NFL.
No, but again, I don't think it's the same thing. They're different.
Maybe not. Then I just don't understand what drives people to boycott.
I think what people are saying is when it comes to Chick-fil-A, people are, and this isn't me. I still go there.
Yeah.
I disagree with that guy vehemently.
He's dead.
Well, whatever. and I disagreed with him then. But there is for me, I still root for the players of the league. I still root for everybody else. I despise Deshaun Watson. I despise all of the owners. I don't think there's a single owner in the NFL I really care for that I can. Well, Arthur Blank's pretty good. He seems like a really good man. But again, you don't know about anybody. He's with the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
There is nobody in the league's office that I care for. But I'm not rooting for them. I'm rooting for the guys on the field and the sport itself, which is great. But I can understand people saying, I'm not giving Dan Cathy any of my money.
Yeah, I mean,
and I can understand if NFL people want to do the same. I'm not giving the NFL any of my money, but I see it like I'm giving players my eyeballs because I don't really pay to go to games.
All those gross owners your money,
but I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice if I want to watch the sport. I don't have a choice.
But you could just not watch the sport.
I could, but what's my alternative? I could not go to Chick-fil-A. I could eat something else.
Watch hockey. Watch baseball.
It's not the same. I like football.
I know.
Football is football, and there's no alternative to football.
I'm just saying, I think ultimately we boycott. We're always weighing how strongly do I feel about this and how much does it inconvenience me?
Of course.
And people love football and they pretty much love it enough where the owners and the league can do anything from signing despicable people like Deshaun Watson or hurting their own players by not protecting them or screwing them over when it comes to healthcare. And we just keep coming back.
Yeah, because people like the sport and people found Dan Cathy to be objectionable, but they still went to Chick-fil-A anyway. And a lot of people do because the lines are constant. So it's not like they are hurting. And again, there is no alternative to NFL football. There just isn't. Like if you like football and you want to watch the best in the world, that's your option. There is no other option. Sorry. Chick-fil-A, I can go to Raising Cane's.
XFL,
I can go
baby.
to Popeyes.
XFL.
I can go to KFC. You have all kinds of other XFL. Get serious. Oh, hey, Battlehawks. Can't wait.
Okay, Chris Ranji. I'm Amy Mark Scores. And if you are a business owner and you've survived the past couple of years and you have 5 or more employees, well, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. Now, this is not a loan and there's nothing to pay back. It's a refund of your taxes. And I don't like the word taxes. I think it just means things are confusing, bureaucracy, red tape, hard to get through. Well, the team at getrefunds.com can help you out. The tax attorneys they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. And they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. They do all the work with no charge up front. They simply share a percentage of the cash that they get for you. And again, if you think, I don't think my business will qualify because I took PPP or I actually saw an increase in sales, well, your business could still be eligible. To find out if your business qualifies, just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. Getrefunds.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444. Chris Ranji.
Wonderful bones, great eyes, and you dress really interesting.
On the show.
It is the show on KMOX.
No,
Chris
it isn't.
Ranji and Amy Mark Scores. What do you think this is?
Oh, wait, you're right.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Does everybody know that today marks Roger Brand's 30th anniversary at KMOX?
I knew it.
Did you know it?
I knew it.
Well, go on Twitter and everybody congratulate Roger Brand.
Roger Brand is wonderful. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's weird. It almost feels like he's not an old man, but it feels like he's been here for 50 years,
that's
you know?
what's so awesome about KMOX, because Tom Ackerman is a very young man and it feels like he's been here for 50 years, but he's been here for
does.
over half his life.
It sure does. Yeah.
My friend is like, oh my gosh, Tom Ackerman's like our age.
Right.
But he's been here so long that that's what I love about KMOX.
And
It's
you know
really
why
as a
he looks
family.
young?
What?
No stress. That man has no stress at all.
That's impossible though, because he works more than anyone. Like anyone I know, he's always working. He's here at 4 a.m. doing TIM.
Mhm.
He's at the Cardinals games. He's at the Blues games. He's calling college basketball. I don't know when he sleeps. I
Yeah,
honestly
but it's
don't
not-
think he sleeps.
But he just did. He's not anxious. There's no stress. He just goes to work.
Somehow he does it.
I don't know how he does it.
Okay, go to Our Brand Traffic on Twitter. Our Brand Traffic to congratulate Roger Brand. And if Chris Myhill wants to call in the next hour, he absolutely can. But he has great stories about racing to work with Roger Brand, racing to the old KMOX studio on One Memorial Drive. And at one point, he was following Roger Brand on the highway and he pulled up. This is terrible. I think the statute of limitations is on this, but
Yeah,
he
it's
pulled
fine.
up so close to Roger Brand. This is right at 3 a.m, 4 a.m, and he turned off his lights. So it looked like he disappeared. to Roger Brand, and he was following Roger so close with his lights off that Roger couldn't see his car.
Why would he do that?
Because it was a thing that they did. Chris Myhill can call in 636
Like so it was
314-436-7900.
it was dark.
Yeah.
That seems very dangerous.
It's incredibly dangerous.
Don't ever do that.
I know. I'm just telling you. He did that one time in one of the way this was years ago, decades ago.
Well, that does make sense because Myhill's not afraid of anything. Not even snow.
His stories are crazy.
Look, I want Chris Myhill to just be safe.
It's too late for that.
Be safe in life. Why are you like this? You know what I mean?
Why are you like this?
Couldn't tell you. A lot of problems, Amy Mark Scores. The 12 o'clock hour, the show is coming up next on KMOX.
The St. Louis Women of Achievement Award is the oldest ongoing program in the area, whose sole mission is to honor and recognize the volunteer service and volunteer leadership of women. Nominations are currently open for the 2023 Women of Achievement. Nominate a woman who volunteers in the community and makes a difference in the lives of others. Or if you're one, Women of Achievement wants to hear from you. Nominations, including self-nominations, may be submitted now through January 10th. Head to WOASTL.org.
Happy New Year from our friends at Zero Res 2023. Time to get your home Zero Resified with all the services at 23% off. You must book and clean in January. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com for 23% off all of our services.
A couple do's and don'ts might help you for lower your energy cost this winter. Do's are windows and doors. You can put plastic. The hardware stores sell kits, so they do work. Major thing if you have an attic fan in your hallway in your house or on the second floor or in a bedroom, whatever, again, duct tape and plastic, because that's a major place where your heat is being sucked out of your house. Do not spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a furnace. If your house is not fit, what good would it do to put in an extremely high efficient furnace? But that's why you call me. If you're in doubt or if you're in need of a furnace for this winter, call me, Bart Inman, Bart with a B, Inman with an I. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. It's 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. Remember the B and the I. Bye.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
Your home of the Chiefs. This is KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's a cloudy sky and 40 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour.
Weaver, Jeffries, Klein, McCarthy.
The House is trying again today, making it the fourth time to try to elect a new speaker. And on this ballot, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has lost too many votes to win. Representative Mike Gallagher opened the voting by nominating McCarthy once again.
Nobody has done more to lay out a plan for how we restore the basic functioning of this institution than Kevin McCarthy.
Representative Byron Donalds was also nominated on the Republican side, and Hakeem Jeffries by the Democrats. The latest tally is 150 votes for McCarthy, 143 for Jeffries, and 16 for Donalds. McCarthy can't lose more than 5 votes in order to still be in the running for Speaker. It's back to class Monday for the students of a South St. Louis high school where a gunman killed a teacher, a student, and wounded several other students before being killed himself by police.
This is Kevin Killeen outside the school. About 380 students of the Central Visual and Performing Arts High School are invited back for the first time on Monday, the first time since the October 24th attack. The district tells us since then they have been offering the students counseling, and they have been making security upgrades, hardware upgrades. There will be more officers on hand on Monday, some of them armed. The collegiate high side of the campus, with its 330 plus students, came back after Thanksgiving, but Monday will be the first time the doors open for the side of the campus where the shooting took place.
Damar Hamlin's family says his condition is improving somewhat. I'm Allison Keys.
Donald Trump could be back on Facebook soon.
Former President Trump's Facebook ban expires on Saturday, 2 years after he was banned from the social media platform over the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Facebook's parent company Meta says the decision hinges on whether his risk to public safety has faded, and it warns it could still hit him with sanctions for future policy violations. The company plans to announce this decision in the coming weeks. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
The consultant at the heart of the national college admissions scandal is due to be sentenced today.
Federal prosecutors are seeking 6 years in prison for Rick Singer, who secretly cooperated with authorities in the case known as Operation Varsity Blues. Singer pled guilty in 2019 to charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy. He worked with the FBI to secure the convictions of more than 50 wealthy parents who paid him to get their undeserving kids into top-tier colleges. He recorded hundreds of phone conversations and meetings as he schemed with TV actors like Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman, businessmen and athletic coaches, to rig applications with bogus test scores and athletic credentials. His lawyer is asking for 3 years of probation. In a letter to the judge, Singer wrote that by ignoring what was morally, ethically, and legally right in favor of winning what I perceive to be the college admissions game, I have lost everything. He will get a chance to speak before the judge hands down his sentence in Boston federal court. I'm Jennifer King.
The KMOX Business Desk.
The co-founder of entertainment chain Dave & Buster's has died. Local news outlets are reporting that James Buster Corley died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His daughter confirming that he suffered a stroke recently. He opened the first location in 1982. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's up 132 points to 33,268. And we've got some debris on 6440 going east at Vanaventer. The 2 right lanes blocked. They have a left lane closure on 44 east at 55. Stalled vehicle 94 west at 364 east on the right shoulder, and 64 east at Boone's Crossing. The right lane is closed.
Mostly cloudy this afternoon, breezy and much colder than yesterday, high 44. Partly cloudy tonight, though 33. Clouds and some sunshine tomorrow, breezy and cold, high near 40. Friday, sunshine mixing with clouds, high 45. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It's cloudy and 40 degrees downtown at the Arch, and happening right now.
He may be the first freshman ever elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. But it's great to be here with 2 individuals who are among those.
President Biden is in Covington, Kentucky with Senate Leader Mitch McConnell right now, touting bipartisanship and infrastructure investment. We'll continue to monitor that as well as the vote for House Speaker. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
The show on KMOX, Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji until 1 o'clock, and then the Dave Glover show comes in. And then it's all the Dave Glover people and Amy and me. We sit in until 2 o'clock, as we do every day, Monday through Friday, right here on KMOX. And we did talk about the situation with the House And we are still waiting for a speaker to be elected in the vote. The first vote of the day is going on right now. And the current tally for Speaker of the House is Jeffries at 175, McCarthy at 166, and who was that? I can't read that. Donald's at 20.
And then others.
And others, 0.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's quite the soap opera that's going on here. We talked about the Never Kevins.
That's Byron Donalds, by the way.
Yeah, the Never Kevins group. An interesting group led by Matt Gaetz, Chip Roy, and multiple other Republicans, while Marjorie Taylor Greene was on Steve Bannon's show today, complaining about the Never Kevins. She is an advocate for Kevin McCarthy to be Speaker of the House. And then again, I liked the dispatch, said we have the Never Kevins group, then you have the Only Kevins, and the exasperated Kevin is really the only viable option guys group.
What are we now? You and I were semi-Kevins? Or are we still the original Never Kevins?
Well, we are the original Never Kevins. Before the whole Speaker of the House
Right.
debacle took place months ago, Ron and I were the Never Kevins.
Right.
The
And
original Never Kevin.
has nothing to do with Kevin McCarthy.
No, it has to do with Kevin Wheeler.
Right.
Yeah, and that was us. But I would say now we're the fine, just make it Kevin group. Just right.
It's just a fun. Yes. Yeah, we could.
How do you feel
This
about
is-
Kevin? 314-436-7900.
Yeah, and tell us which Kevin you like or
Which-
dislike the most.
Which Kevin group are you in? Are you only Kevins? Are you never Kevins? Are you fine? Just vote for Kevin?
I'm only Kevin Killeen.
Oh my gosh, I love Kevin Killeen. That's a
So-
whole other Kevin.
It's a whole nother Kevin.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a whole nother Kevin.
A texter, you can text us, by the way, 314-436-7900. You can also voicemail us. Let us hear your sparkling voice
Mhm.
at 314-944-1120. But a text message said they just heard an ad for ZipRecruiter on this station. Can we use them to find qualified candidates for Congress and state legislators?
That's
they
a great
couldn't do
idea.
worse, could they?
That's a great idea.
You know?
Put them all in a basket.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can vote for them. Some of the comments coming out of the House of Representatives, some of the stronger sentiments expressed by Representative Dan Crenshaw talking about the Never Kevins. He said, there's a group of people who have deeply miscalculated. They've calculated that people will see them as these noble freedom fighters fighting for a cause. They can't seem to say what the cause is. That makes them look pretty effing stupid. And they are pretty effing stupid. They are enemies now. They have made it clear that they prefer a Democrat agenda than a Republican. So he is talking about a lot of the House Freedom Caucus members who are holding up the proceedings as far as choosing a Speaker of the House, allowing elected representatives to be sworn in, those representatives that were elected during the midterms, and also the House. The Republicans are going to have a majority. They want to stop the, quote, radical Biden agenda. Well, they can't do it without a speaker because they can't function as a House without a speaker. There can be no official proceedings.
It's been a century. And I know Mike Gallagher, who is a representative from Wisconsin, gave about a 6-minute speech today on the floor and nominated McCarthy, and also said that democracy is messy, and this is just democracy being messy. It ain't supposed to be this messy.
Yeah.
This is, and he's also used the term, it's a feature and not a bug. I disagree. This right now is a bug. This is not how things are supposed to go. It's been 100 years since something like this has happened. We also talked about the Damar Hamlin situation, the Buffalo Bills player in the hospital, still in critical condition. A lot of people have been at the hospital standing outside, offering support. His GoFundMe page, as Amy mentioned, it had a goal of $2,500. And before the injury was at $74,000, it's now almost at $6.4 million. So people have really donated to that, and it's wonderful. We spoke to Kirill Shakutsky, Shakutsky, who is with Radio Free Europe, and that was such an interesting conversation to hear from him, because what they are doing is they are informing people who are in disinformed areas, who have maybe nothing but state media like Russia. Russia only has state media. And if you ever watch any clips from their television shows and then you see the translations, it is, I mean, these people are mad. Like, they are just absolutely mad. And what they are telling the public in Russia is gross.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's just
places
straight
like
up
radio-
lies and propaganda.
Absolutely. And people in that work for Radio Free Europe are disseminating some real information to people who may not know what's actually going on with the invasion in Ukraine.
Yeah, and Radio Free Europe, or Radio Liberty, was created shortly after World War II to make sure that the truth could permeate the Iron Curtain, where the Soviet government had complete control and censorship over media, over information, and an informed citizenry is critical to global stability, but also to the security interests of the United States. And so, yeah, Radio Free Europe continues. Their incredible journalists who, at the risk of their own health, their own lives, the hazard of their own lives, are trying to get the truth and news and journalism to people in censorious situations.
If you missed that interview or any other part of the show, you can go back when the show is over. That's all posted on KMOX.com. There's a podcast tab that you can go find, or it's on the Odyssey app as well. There's a podcast section on the Odyssey app. If you're on the KMOX station, KMOX is easy to find, and you can listen for free wherever you are. Another benefit of the Odyssey app, if you happen to be in the area, maybe you're somewhere, though, you don't get great radio reception, and you want to listen to the Cardinals, you can listen to the Cardinals for free on the Odyssey app if you are in the St. Louis listening area. So it's a very good thing that you should be doing and you need to do. It is very, very important. All right, Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on the show. When we come back, I mean, we have been praising Volodymyr Zelensky for the way he has handled his country being invaded by a foreign nation. We have been talking about that for months because he has done an exceptional job at that, and better than I ever expected. That does not mean he's without criticism. We'll talk about that next on the show.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to The Dave Glover Show and all the news, talk, sports, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Find your center in the new year. Find your why. Join the Y in January and pay no joining fee. Plus, get $75 in Y Bucks through January 16th. 24 branches in Missouri and Illinois. No contract. Stop in or visit gwrymca.org.
What really matters to you? At Archwell Health, that's what matters to us. When Linda told her doctor about the trip her family planned for her 70th birthday, our team worked together to improve her mobility. Then there's Shirley, who wanted to lose a little weight. She and her doctor chose an Archwell Health exercise class, and her dietitian also had a few ideas. We're here to help you live your life to the fullest because you are more than a patient. Join today at archwellhealth.com/livewell.
I'm Rick Edelman, host of the award-winning personal finance radio show, The Truth About Your Future, here to tell you that The Truth About Your Future is now a daily podcast. Short and quick, every day I give you the information you need about personal finance, longevity, retirement security, exponential technologies, blockchain and digital assets, and health and wellness. Get the truth about your future with Rick Edelman. The podcast is at YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google, and thetruth.com.
Hi, guys. It's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Wednesday, January 4th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Pineview Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now, and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today, Wednesday, 314-530-7777.
Disasters, floods, crisis. These events can take a toll on your health. Stress, anxiety, and other symptoms are common reactions after a disaster. Show Me Hope, Missouri's crisis counseling program, has free and confidential support for anyone impacted by the severe floods that struck St. Louis in July. Our disaster distress helpline provides immediate crisis counseling. Visit moshowmehope.org to get connected to local providers. Brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Serving St. Louis for over 96 years. KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores on the show on KMOX. Well, Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, has pretty much been in the headlines every single day since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. My goodness, almost a year ago. A year ago.
You know what? It's nuts that it's
Wow.
been that long because it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, part of me feels like this invasion just happened 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But it has been a horror that the people in Ukraine have dealt with for a very long time.
And it has to feel like an eternity to the people who are there,
yeah, I mean,
constantly under attack.
An
homes.
hour of that feels like an
Yes.
eternity.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Zelensky has been rightfully praised for being a man who has stepped up to the moment. He was a comedian, an actor, ironically, was in a show, the Ukrainian Netflix show, about a teacher who is unhappy with a corrupt government and runs for president and becomes president. And that's the whole show. Here he is, an average guy, the president of Ukraine. And in many ways, it mirrors exactly what happened to Zelensky. You see him in Dancing with the Stars. You see him acting. And now he is leading a country as it's being invaded by one of the largest countries, autocratic regimes in the world. He deserves all of our praise. My concern is, I think in the U.S., and maybe this is in other countries as well, but in the U.S., we have this tendency to place people on pedestals and assume because this person has excelled in this one area, we will agree with them and like what they do in every other area of their lives. And then every other area of their lives have to be pristine in order for us to still praise them in this area. It's a little bit different, but in some ways, we see that with like the CEO or the tech genius like Elon Musk, because he was great in this area. Certainly his opinion matters on everything else. And certainly we should agree with his opinion on everything else. Well, my fear was that with Zelensky, something would happen. He'd make a decision. He'd say something would come out about his beliefs or his past that would somehow knock him off the pedestal that the American people have placed him on. Well, on Thursday, this past Thursdays, over the objections of media unions and press freedom organizations, he signed into law a new statute that does expand the Ukrainian government's power to regulate media and journalists across the country. So the law is the National Television and Radio Broadcasting council, or under the new law, the National Television and Radio Broadcasting Council, whose members are appointed by the president's administration and members of parliament, they'll have broader authority over Ukrainian journalists and media organizations. What that means is it's a regulatory agency, and it can potentially shut down news sites that aren't registered. People are afraid that this is a threat to press freedom in Ukraine, and that the regulatory powers of this government organization and of this law are too expansive. I would say probably in the U.S. we'd feel the same way. But the thing is, Ukraine is not the U.S. And don't you think it was inevitable that a country with different sensibilities, different traditions, different cultural values, different views, relationships between the citizenry and the government, that we might see Zelensky maybe take some steps that don't align with how we feel in the U.S.?
One of the things that I have heard a lot from people who want us to stop supporting them is Ukraine is corrupt and Zelensky is corrupt. And my answer to that is, okay, and those two things have nothing to do with how good of a job he is doing as the president under an invasion, a country that is doing remarkably well in not really driving out Russia, but many areas they have after Russia has decimated many of the cities across the country and committed literal war crimes. And we continue to find out about all the terrible stuff some of the Russian soldiers have done. Not all, because many Russian soldiers don't even know why they're there and don't want to be there and want to go home. But there are many who have committed atrocities. What Zelensky has done in the face of all of that should be commended. And we should continue to talk about this. I think for years to come, his name should always be remembered for trying to drive out a foreign invader and keeping the country together during this invasion.
Against seemingly insurmountable odds.
Right. It doesn't mean that there isn't room for criticism. There has always been criticism that there's still corruption there, that it is one of the most corrupt countries in in Europe, and that he is a puppet of the oligarchs. Well, of the Russian oligarchs. In fact, he was accused of that back in February. There was a New York Times opinion piece from somebody who is Ukrainian working for the Kyiv Independent who said that about him. Then this invasion happens, and, well, he did pretty well. And he did pretty well in keeping the country together. That does not mean things about him that are unsavory are not going to come out and paint a slightly different picture of him. Those things should be judged completely separately. This man has done an exceptional job under the circumstances. And there is nothing at this point that is more important than him defending his people against a foreign invader.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he can't be criticized for other things.
And it doesn't mean that that country is not an ally of your own. It's a sovereign state with their own laws, their own leaders, their own cultures, their own values, their own social mores. And I do think the United States tends to project not only its own virtues, but also its own vices onto other countries.
Right.
And we have a very difficult time looking at a situation and removing the lens of our own past, our own history, our own social issues. It's everything we tend to be very U.S. centric when we look at any other country's situation.
We also tend to, don't talk about our past. Like, I mean, that's the past. Don't bring that up anymore. But when it's somebody else, I mean, we can do a full scale assessment of everybody else. But there are a lot of people who refuse to do it on ourselves.
But I think it kind of is both ways. Like, even if we are talking about our past a lot, we then project that past onto another country.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that, I think it's hard for us to remove that lens. I was afraid. I'm like, my goodness, again, when this first happened, I thought, oh my gosh, Zelensky's going to get, I don't know what it is, something like Me Too'd or something like a sketchy past.
Yeah.
I know that, Eastern Europe, Russia, there tend to be some more conservative or traditional values, not conservative like United States conservative, but, maybe sometimes historically women have been looked at, in maybe a second class or maybe not quite equal with men culturally. And I don't know what Zelensky's history is with that. I just feel like inevitably something was going to come out and there would be those who are surprised, like the bubble burst, like, oh my gosh, he's not perfect. Well, of course he's not.
Well, there's going to be that, but there's also going to be a lot of people who just are looking for anything because they don't want to be supportive of him or of Ukraine and think we should have nothing to do with that situation altogether, while completely discounting the reality that we are not doing this out of altruism. This is not about kindness and charity. This is because it is strategically advantageous to us to have a stable Europe. It is advantageous to the United States to make sure Russia is not allowed to just stomp through any country it wants to and take back territories it feels like it wants. We have to make sure they don't do that, because eventually it will become a problem that we absolutely cannot ignore. And so that's why stuff like this bothers me, because I want him to be perfect. I want him to not make missteps like this. Now, this media legislation, the regulation of the media legislation, I could understand it if he's coming from the perspective of, I want to combat disinformation and I want to make sure that we continue to have a free press. But there are concerns that that's not what this would end up doing, that it would make it less likely there is a free press in Ukraine. That is bad. That is a horrible decision. And that's not something he should be on board with.
No, and I know people are concerned about disinformation in the U.S. You know who I don't want regulating that is the U.S. government. I mean, we talk about journalists as speaking truth to power. Well, then you don't want to have the government in charge of what counts as misinformation or truth. And again, it's separating all those powers. And again, the media needs to be separated from overt government regulation. You're just you cannot speak truth to power if you're in bed with power.
That's Amy Marks-Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. The news is coming up. We'll get an update on the Kevin McCarthy vote. Did he win? Do we have a new Speaker of the House? Doesn't look like it. The news people will tell you. That's next on KMOX.
Save the date.
January 26th at the Wildy Theater in Edwardsville.
It's the DGS Live, a night of comedy and music.
It's an absolute riot. All the stories I tell on the air that you guys love, I tell the real ones. I don't have to be FCC friendly.
Tickets are on sale now.
$60 for VIP.
Which gets you floor seating, a pre-show VIP meet and greet with a DGS, and more.
Regular tickets, which are $30. We shouldn't charge more.
The DGS Live.
January 26th.
For tickets or more info, KMOX.com/events.
Another great one for you, ladies and gentlemen. The new joke, Uncle Sam's short form for taxes. The first line, how much did you make? The next line, send it all in.
You know, that's really not that funny, but it's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay the taxes. Steve All at the All Financial Group believes there's a better plan for your retirement than Uncle Sam's plan. In fact, he invites you to take the All Tax Challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees? What if you're headed for higher Medicare premiums and a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized would allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that now? Take the All Financial Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered by All Financial Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in Missouri. Insurance products are offered through its affiliate, All Insurance Group, LLC, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
At 12:30, it's cloudy and 40 degrees downtown at the Arch. House Republicans are still struggling to elect a speaker for the new Congress. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy is faring no better than he did yesterday when he fell short of the votes needed to win the gavel. McCarthy was nominated today by Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin.
Democracy is messy. Democracy is messy by design. By design. And that's a feature That's a feature, not a bug of our system. We air it all out in the open for the American people to see.
Democrats re-upped their leader, Representative Hakeem Jeffries, for Speaker, and a right-flank leader from the Freedom Caucus offered a challenge to McCarthy, nominating Representative Byron Donalds of Florida in another history-making moment. Both Jeffries and Donalds are Black Americans. And the latest tally is 212 votes for Representative Jeffries, 201 for McCarthy, and 20 for Representative Donalds. St. Louis County Police have released the name of the man killed in a fire New Year's Eve. 71-year-old John Hendricks was found in his apartment in the 12,400 block of Scenic Lake Drive. Police say the cause of the fire is believed to be accidental. An investigation continues into the snow tractor accident that injured Avengers star Jeremy Renner. Washoe County, Nevada Sheriff Derry Ballum.
Mr. Renner's personal vehicle, which was being driven by a family member, had become stuck in the snow near his home. Mr. Renner went to retrieve his piston bully, or snowcat, an extremely large piece of snow removal equipment weighing at least 14,330 pounds.
The accident left Renner in critical but stable condition with chest and orthopedic injuries. We've got a stalled vehicle 270 south at 364 that's just been cleared. Another one that's still there, 6440 east at Boone's Crossing in the right lane. A crash on 44 east at 55 on the right shoulder. This afternoon, breezy and much cooler than yesterday with plenty of clouds and maybe some sun as we get later in the day with a high today of 44. Partly cloudy tonight, the low 33. Tomorrow's high not far from 40 and Friday's high 45 with some sunshine. Right now it's cloudy and 40 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
STL Fenceworks has made deeply discounted winter buys on vinyl fencing as well as aluminum fencing, and they're passing it on to consumers. That means when you work with STL Fenceworks, you are looking at price points that are pre-pandemic costs. Yes, pre-pandemic costs. That's huge savings. And when you look at STL Fenceworks, well, you've heard me talk about them serving the St. Louis, the St. Charles, the Franklin, and Warren counties for over 50 years. Well, because of that, they have exceptional service, exceptional workmanship. They're locally owned and operated, family owned and operated, as they have been for over half a century, which means they have great products. The owners and who run the company, that's Sean Timothy Long, STL, and STL Fenceworks, he has been running the company with this commitment to customers first since his parents, Russ and Carolyn Long, opened the company over 50 years ago. So again, you have great prices, great products, exceptional service and workmanship. They can get the project done in a timely manner because they have the workers and at pre-pandemic costs. I don't know of any other company that can say that. And right now, they have more materials and supplies on hand than they've had at any other time in their 50-year history. So if you are thinking now's the time to put in a deck, now's the time to put in that fence and give you some separation, some privacy to improve that outdoor space, you'll want to check out STL Fenceworks. Go to stlfenceworks.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. My second business was open 6 days a week and I worked from home the seventh day. I maintained that ridiculous schedule for 8 years. One Saturday morning in 1999, I woke up late for work and was greeted by my 6-year-old.
Oh, hi, Dad. Why aren't you at work?
I answered, because it's Saturday. He said,
Oh, thanks for visiting, Dad.
His words pierced my heart. I had become a workaholic. It was decision time. What's more important, family or work? I chose family and I stopped working 7 days a week. That's why I created Patriot Software, so entrepreneurs can run their payroll in minutes, which gives more time for their families. Go to patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Your home of the Cardinals.
Arenado swings and hits it deep to left field. That ball is out of here.
The Billikens.
Jumper. Yes! Billikens win!
The Chiefs.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
We are America's sports voice. KMOX.
I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of on my own. Won't you help me, girl, just as soon as you can?
It is the show on KMOX.
I was going to say,
with
remind me
Chris
to.
Ranji and
I was-
Amy Mark scores. And Chris Ranji is just gesticulating.
Yeah, I was telling you to turn your microphone off so I could say something to you
Oh,
off the air.
You looked like you're like, go.
no,
talk
no.
now.
I wanted to tell you a secret,
Oh,
but I can't say it now.
Why don't we turn the music back on and then we'll turn our mics off? You tell me the secret.
Okay. Yeah, let's get the music back. And then I'm going to tell Amy a secret real quick, and then I'll come back.
All right.
And then
Here we go.
We'll restart the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
I'm so tired of on my own. Won't you help me, girl, just as soon as you can?
It's a great secret.
You like it? You like that secret?
It's a great
And
secret.
guess what?
Hey, no. I have a secret that I'm
What?
going to tell everybody right now.
What?
Chris Ranji, being the selfish jerk that he is,
What?
decided, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm going to eat a fish salad
Salmon salad.
in the studio.
It's
which,
salmon.
By the way, we had a little flooding around here at KMOX.
Yeah,
And so
a
they're ripping up the
burst
carpet.
pipe.
That's right. A pipe broke on Christmas night. And so they're ripping up the carpet. Well, they're putting down new flooring, which requires glue and shellac and everything else that you use for floors. And I will say, between the smell of the glue and your salmon salad,
You can't smell
I'm
the
going to throw
salad.
myself out this window. I can't take it.
The glue smells like whiskey.
It does not. It smells like glue.
It smells like whiskey, and it's overpowering.
It's stuck
everything.
in my nose hairs. Have you ever had
Yeah.
a smell stuck in your nose hairs?
Yeah, of course.
Where you leave wherever the smell is, but
Mhm.
it's still in there?
Yeah.
That's-
When I leave the office and go home every day, I smell it still. It does smell like whiskey in here, and one of the guys who's out there from Reinhold Flooring,
Yeah.
taking care. It looks great already.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, like they're not even close to being done yet because they just started and we got a lot of floor space, but it looks really, really good. The kitchen is done. And I was out there talking about it smells like whiskey. And he said, yeah. One of the guys says, yeah, it kind of does. We used to have glue that smelled like coleslaw. And we were trying to figure out, is that worse or is that better? I think the whiskey smell is probably better, right?
Yeah. I mean, the coleslaw, is it mayo based or like
Or
oil based
vinegar.
vinegar?
Yeah,
I
that's
bet
a
it
good
was
question.
the vinegar one.
Yeah, if it was the vinegar one, I think you could.
Because like wood stain, that's a tough smell.
Mhm.
Polyurethane,
Yeah, it really is.
those are tough smells. I will say, I feel like I'm starting to lose some vision and my eyebrows hurt.
Do you feel lonely?
No. Do you?
No, not really. But
You
guess
should,
what?
though.
Guess why? Because I
Well,
live alone?
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
I'm not alone in living alone. And in fact, I happen to live in a city known as St. Louis, Missouri,
Yeah.
that is the second loneliest city in the country,
What?
behind only Washington, D.C.
This is very surprising. I
Yes.
thought people in Missouri were like old fashioned and, got married and had families.
So here's the situation.
Okay.
Of all the cities in the country, with the exception of Washington, D.C., this is considered the loneliest. Using data from the U.S. Census Bureau, they have measured how many people are in one-person households. So that includes me. That includes you. You're also very lonely, Amy, if you didn't know it.
Oh.
But you are. And they measured data from across 170 cities in the country with at least 150,000 population. St. Louis is above that mark.
So this is St. Louis City. I'm guessing they're not counting St. Louis County and St. Charles County. This is the city of St. Louis.
This is St. Louis City.
Okay.
Nearly half of all the homes in St. Louis, nearly half, 47.5%, are occupied by one person.
Yeah. I believe it though, because a lot of young single people live in the city. The Central West End, Tower Grove. I mean, there are families there, obviously, but there are a lot of young, hip people who live in St. Louis.
And in addition to that, it's relatively cheap to live alone. Not everywhere. There are a lot of really expensive places in the city,
Right.
and there are a lot of places that are overpriced. I'll say that. There are a lot of places within the city limits that cost too much and shouldn't be what they cost. But I guess you say supply demand, right?
Yeah,
If
but
people are
Washington,
paying for it-
D.C. is not cheap.
No, it isn't. And I was thinking, I lived in Chicago for a long time, and
Yeah.
a lot of people remain single for longer. They don't get married necessarily at 22, 23, or 24. Like a lot of people here get engaged in their early 20s. That does not necessarily happen in a city like that or in a city like New York. But what's the difference between us and cities like that? It is way more expensive to live up there.
Yeah.
It is way more expensive to live in New York or a city like that. So it makes sense that you have all of these single people in this area living alone. In terms of lonely women, we have lonely
All
women.
the lonely women.
25.7% of one-person householders
Yeah.
are women.
Okay.
So it is the fourth loneliest in the country.
But-
Richmond, Virginia is number one.
Okay.
For men, 21.8% of one-person households belong to them. It is the fourth loneliest city for men. And here's the bad news,
Mhm.
lonely people. It's only getting worse.
Why?
On average, the number of people living alone in St. Louis has increased almost 2% year over year, going back 6 years.
But isn't it kind of the cliche that when you're young and single, right, you live in the cities and then you get married and have kids and move to the suburbs?
That's the cliche.
That's the cliche. So wouldn't it make sense
The point is,
of all those cities,
yeah,
we're number 2?
we're number 2, and fewer single people remain in the city. Well, fewer married people remain in the city. People who do get married, they leave town and they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
They go to Chesterfield, they go to St. Charles, St. Peter's, whatever. They get
Yeah.
out of Dodge. Now, I don't know. If it were up to me, and it is for now, but if it were up to me, I would live in it. I like a city lifestyle.
Okay.
I appreciate having space and appreciate having a huge yard or whatever, but I live pretty close to a pretty big park.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of Forest Park, but I live pretty close. That's good enough for me. I like city lifestyle. I like bustle. I know a lot of people don't, but I happen to be one of those that do.
Mm-hmm.
You had to deal with a thing last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people living in the city deal with,
Mm-hmm.
which I have not ever dealt with in a city.
Yes. Yeah, there were gunshots outside my apartment. And so I did.
Gunshots.
Yeah. And so that was new. Not that I haven't heard it before. That was just the closest I had heard it. I will say this, though. On New Year's Eve, into New Year's Eve, I rang in the new year by running like across midnight, right?
Yeah,
From one
right.
year to the next with Mason Jar. And we heard a lot of fireworks, but we did also hear gunshots. And that was out in the suburbs.
Well, people with their celebratory gunfire.
Yeah.
Which you have to remind idiots.
Oh my
don't,
gosh. It scared me though. Being out there hearing the fireworks were fine, but hearing the celebratory gunfire, I thought, okay, well these bullets have to come down.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
If you are listening to KMOX radio right now, you're listening to the show, and you happen to be an idiot, listen to this. Do not fire your gun up into the air.
Yeah.
Because, as Amy said,
They have to come down. The bullets have to come
the
down.
bullet has to come down.
Yeah.
The
Well,
bullet does not go into outer space and then just go to Mars.
That's like the woman
It comes back to Earth.
who was in Busch Stadium.
Yes, and got
was
hit by the
a bullet.
bullet.
And those bullets can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was scary. But yes, Washington, D.C., the loneliest city. St. Louis, Missouri, the second loneliest city. I'm a little bit surprised. If you want to know what the other cities are, number 3, Alexandria, Virginia. 4, Richmond, Virginia. 5, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Mhm.
6, Cleveland, Ohio. 7, New Orleans, Louisiana. 8, Birmingham, Alabama. 9, Atlanta, Georgia. 10, Baltimore, Maryland.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is very interesting. I want to read this text message because I think it's important. It's from Mary Lynn,
Okay.
who says, living alone does not mean you are lonely. And that's in all caps. It does not mean you are lonely.
I'm not lonely.
I don't feel lonely either.
I've always lived alone.
I feel fine. I feel
I mean,
fine.
You're a little crabby at times.
Yeah, that's not because of being in my own place.
Right. I feel like you might be crabbier if you lived with someone.
That's exactly what I think.
Here's one thing, though. I will say this. I could never have roommates. I can't do roommates. I mean, like a significant other, yes. But the whole roommates thing, even in my 20s, couldn't do it.
Interesting.
And so many people do. One of my good running buddies, she's 25, 26, had roommates here, moved to Brooklyn, has 4 roommates, makes it more affordable, obviously. I couldn't do it. I could not. I need my space. I can't deal with other people's schedules, right? They're up later, up earlier, whatever it may be. I can't do roommates.
I had roommates my entire life. After I moved out of my parents' house until I moved to St. Louis. Till I moved back to St. Louis.
So in Chicago, you had roommates.
Yep.
What do you do, though, if like you want to go to bed and they're being ruckus?
Nothing was a problem. Well, nobody was ever really like that. But we never had a problem.
What about if they're sick and you want to have people over and you can't because they're sick?
That didn't really happen either.
What about messy? They left messes everywhere.
Oh, I was probably more guilty of the mess.
I can see that.
Yeah. So,
but that's a great
you'd
point.
have to ask them.
I know Sweden is one of the loneliest countries. They have more people in Sweden who live alone. This is old statistics, probably from 2 years ago, but more people live alone in Sweden than any other country. So the government would even have these programs where you could live in an apartment building if you were a younger person living alone. There was an older person living alone. And in order to live in that apartment complex, you had to have like 2 scheduled events / hangouts with an older person.
That's so adorable.
Like play a game or watch a movie together because they're trying to increase the social aspect of people. In Sweden, they're very, very alone there.
Would you be allowed to do a Netflix and chill thing, with an older person? You know what that means, right?
I do know what that means. Well, we already determined that you would be the older person in this situation.
That's right. That's right. I'm not that old, though.
But you're not that young.
Sometimes I feel old being around you.
Really?
Yeah. It's
because I'm young?
No, because you bring me down.
Okay.
I know this. I don't feel lonely. Amy, you shouldn't feel lonely because you basically have a friend in your building. This is you. You get to hang out with this every single day.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's unbelievable.
Now, I have to be fair. They have dealt with it. Now it's been over 48 hours and there has been no barking. I don't know what happened, but they've taken care of it to that point.
Well, I'm so glad that you don't have to deal with the barking dog.
How incredible.
Right now.
Guys, I just want people to know that's not fake. That is me recording audio. That's my audio I got with my phone standing inside my apartment.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
I mean, it sounds fake.
Imagine that going on for 6 hours. Well, you can. I'm imagining it going on for 6 hours. I would lose my mind. I would do something that you're not supposed to do to that apartment.
Okay, well, that's terrible. But my
not to the dog.
Yeah, okay. My neighbor, who was home longer than I was, that neighbor had to leave and go do something because she couldn't take it anymore.
I can't take this anymore. So we'll take a break and then we'll come back. And it's our final segment before we get to the 1 o'clock Dave Glover hour right here on KMOX.
Well, again, the past couple of years, we know it's been really tough for businesses. There have been supply chain issues. There have been worker shortages. There's inflation. There have been shutdowns, restrictions. And if you're thinking, don't remind me, I'm just trying to keep my business going. Well, here's the good news. There could be a break for you. If your business has 5 or more employees and you managed to survive the past couple of years, you could be eligible to receive a payroll tax rebate of up to $26,000 per employee. Now, this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited amount of time, so you don't want to dilly-dally. To find out if your business qualifies today, just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and then answer a few questions. Businesses of all types can qualify, including businesses that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that saw an increase in sales. See, the team of tax attorneys that they've put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program, and they've already returned $1 billion to businesses, and they can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com.
The St. Louis Women of Achievement Award is the oldest ongoing program in the area, whose sole mission is to honor and recognize the volunteer service and volunteer leadership of women. Nominations are currently open for the 2023 Women of Achievement. Nominate a woman who volunteers in the community and makes a difference in the lives of others. Or if you're one, Women of Achievement wants to hear from you. Nominations, including self-nominations, may be submitted now through January 10th. Head to WOASDL.org.
Happy New Year from our friends at Zero Res 2023. Time to get your home Zero Resified with all the services at 23% off. You must book and clean in January. Call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com for 23% off all of our services.
Hey friends, Matzo Matt here for Brewpub Lots of Matzo Pizza. It's a new year, a new chapter, a new season per se to adopt all those changes that you're going to make to help you become everything that you desired to be in the last year, but came up short. Well, one thing that isn't changing is the deliciousness of a Brewpub Lots of Matzo Pizza. Yep, new year, but same great high-quality mozzarella cheese that you've come to expect. And yeah, new set of months, but same pizza that's loaded with toppings in every bite, along with that flavorful, generously proportioned sauce on a thin crust. Times are changing, but Brewpub Lots of Matzo Pizzas are consistently the best and available at your local grocery store.
Track your blood donations right from the palm of your hand and stay updated on special promotions. Download the American Red Cross Blood Donor app today. To learn more, go to redcross.org.
The show, sponsored by Straight Realty, your St. Louis area experts. Why pay more than 4? 314-441-4444.
The greatest radio talk show host ever.
Now, more of the show.
Thank you to our guests today, Kirill Sukotsky, John Hancock, and Alan Skaya visiting with us. We think we had a good day today, Amy. And we had a good day listening to you text us, or what would you say?
Is it did we?
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
Ranj. Oh, sure.
Somebody texted in 314-436-7900, and I think they thought you said a foul word earlier because they said, ha ha, Ranji is rubbing off on you. Because they know I don't know what it was that you said.
Yeah, I don't think they thought I said a foul word. Maybe I'm just crabby. Am I in a bad mood? You
No.
did say I was in a bad mood.
You've been in a bad mood the last 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, you came in after your holiday crabby. I don't know what your problem is.
Well, I think I'm just trying to be like
Yeah,
my
kinda-
hero
Oh, yeah,
that I
blame,
look up to.
Yeah, blame me.
Yeah.
Because I'm your hero. Another text message from a 618, Amy. When I was in my 20s and I lived alone, I used to say the best part of having my own place with no roommates is I can go to the bathroom and leave the door open.
Okay, you know what's interesting about that is when I first moved out, like of my parents' house, my family's house with all the siblings and all of that. You do realize that you can go to the bathroom with the door open.
Mhm.
And you know, we've all stayed by ourselves, I guess, at our parents' house or house sat or whatever. But it is a weird phenomenon, leaving the door open when you go to the bathroom. I will say, I live alone. I shut the door. And sometimes I think, why do I shut the door? But I do.
Habit.
Also, have you ever had a dog walk in on you? Because that also, I was like, oh no.
Well, I don't have a dog,
Okay.
so I don't have that problem.
But that's a weird feeling too. And there shouldn't be. The dog doesn't care, but it does feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take a shower or I have to go to the bathroom and this dog is in here.
Well, remember when I was telling you that when I was in Chicago over the weekend, I had my friend's apartment
Yep.
and she was out of town and she has a cat. And I left the door open and that stupid cat walked in. I'm like, get the hell out of here, cat.
See, you felt violated.
I feel because I know they don't like. I know the cat is not going to like wait till she gets home and go like, you wouldn't believe what I saw. Like I
Okay,
went to the bathroom
but
and
here-
this guy.
Yes, here's the thing though. Everybody has dogs and cats. We have like no time. 314-436-7900 if you text in. If we all decided, like in your house, if you all decided not to wear clothes and you suddenly went from being a clothed family to a naked family, would your pet know? Would your pet notice a difference?
They'd probably think something was up, just as like whenever you never wear a hat and then you put a hat on and it might scare the
But
dog.
I feel like hats scare dogs more than clothes.
Well, because that's all they've ever seen is you in clothes.
It's true.
But once
But I feel like when you don't have clothes on, the dog doesn't act any different.
I do think it is great. Going back to, they don't, what are they going to do? Say something? Like the dog's going to walk in and look at you without clothes on and go, what's going on here?
I do feel
What are you doing?
If the dog can bark when you put on a hat, the dog can bark when you take off your clothes, but the dog acts like the dog doesn't know a difference.
I think it's very different because the hat can be menacing if you've never seen one before. You know?
What about a puffy coat?
No, puffy coat is pretty menacing as well.
A puffy coat should scare a dog more than a hat.
Texter from a 636 says, you can fire blanks with your gun, then you don't have to worry about bullets falling to the ground. No, don't do that either. Because sometimes blanks, don't they fail? Don't bad things happen when, like, isn't that what happened to
Alec Baldwin?
Well, Alec Baldwin, he was handed a loaded gun, right?
Yeah.
That's different than what happened with Brandon Lee. Remember Brandon Lee?
Yes.
He was Bruce Lee's son was filming the movie
That's right.
The Crow, and there was a projectile stuck in the gun from before it wasn't checked out, and somebody shot him.
Yeah.
That's how he died. So don't do it. Don't shoot blanks
Don't do
into
that.
the air.
And we'll have to follow up on the dog thing tomorrow.
We will
Do
have to.
dogs know or care that you're naked?
That's a good question. 314-436-7900. Text us tomorrow. Let us know. Amy Marks, Kors, and Chris Ranji, the Dave Glover Show with us next on KMOX.
Need to sell your home but not willing to play the wait and see game? This is Debbie Monterey with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guarantee.